hand over to the chairman of the Central Working Committee, Prince Clarkson Evans, to take over.
Thank you very much. Without much ado, this is a citation of Honorable Dr. Okechukwu Ugorji Okechukwu Ugorji. God bless you. Now, Dr. Ugorji Ugorji is the Honorable Commissioner for Homeland Security and Vigilante Affairs, Imo State. He is a security expert. He lives in the United States of America, where he actually went to school. And before then, he had passed through the Holy Ghost College, Owerri. A prolific writer, a doctorate degree holder in educational administration, a master's degree holder in Homeland Security. He is also a member of the Association of Nigerian Authors, a broadcaster also, and to say it all, an activist. But today he works for the government of Imo State as a commissioner for Homeland Security. Gentlemen and ladies, I welcome you to Dr. Ugorji Okechukwu Ugorji as our second seminar speaker. He will be addressing us for just a few minutes or 15 minutes so that you can have the opportunity of asking as much questions as you want. Can you put your hands together for me?
I believe the gentleman who just addressed us is Alex Maggie, right?
Yes.
Alex Maggie. Spoke from Texas. Mr. Jeremy Osuji, President, Association of Imo State Radio and Television Presenters. Mr. Alexander Okeke, the Secretary of the organization. My brother Ihenito Evans, is the Chairman of the Working Committee, the Organizing Committee for this. Other members of the association, members of the press, my sisters and brothers, ladies and gentlemen. To those of you who share the quintessential Igbo heritage with me, I say, Udo Diruni. To our Christian brethren, I say, may the peace of the Lord be unto you. To our Muslim brothers and sisters, I say, Assalamu alaikum. And to those who share the Judaism tradition, we say Shalom. I bring you greetings on behalf of the Executive Governor of Imo State, who is my boss, His Excellency Senator Hope Uzodimma, who is not just the Governor of the state, but is also the Governor of the Year in Nigeria. I also bring you greetings from my staff, the staff of the Ministry of Homeland Security and Vigilante Affairs. I'm delighted to be among you, the presenters in Imo State. I had asked my brother and friend, Ihenito Evans, so why the hell would anybody want to go into broadcasting and presenting? And he told me it's because that's where the money is. So that's a joke. So I'm glad and delighted to be among those who work and present where the money is. I was was once invited to a school in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, which is in the US, to speak to a classroom of students. And the teacher brought me into the classroom and introduced me to the class. And she then said to the students, so I want you boys and girls to bring out your pencils and your papers and take some notes, because at the end of Brother Ugorji's presentation, we'll discuss his presentation and his books. So the young children started scrambling for their pencils and papers. And then this one young boy raised his hand and said, "But teacher, I ain't got no pencil." Right? So the teacher said to him, "How many times have I told you? It is not I ain't got no pencil. It is I haven't got a pencil. He hasn't got a pencil. She hasn't got a pencil. We don't have pencils." So the young boy said to her, "What the hell happened to all the pencils?" So anyway, I was asked to speak to you about security and strategic communication towards a partnership between the state and presenters such as you. And I was told I have, 15 minutes to speak on this topic. And apparently the brother who gave me the 15 minutes didn't realize I come from the Fidel Castro School of Public Speaking. You know, Brother Castro will speak for 3 hours. And that's just the introductory part of the speech. Wow. But I'm going to try to stay within the limits. As a security person, I will discipline and stay within the limits that I was given. So let me start with the definition, or trying to define what I mean by strategic communication, especially as it relates to security in the state. By strategic communication, I mean a designed and purposeful use of information and data to fulfill the mission of the state, its goals and objectives, and to actualize the vision of the present-day government. The Imo State mission in the security realm is to protect lives and property. The vision of His Excellency, as expounded by Governor Zolema, is, quote, "a state of shared prosperity in a secure and safe homeland, with respect for human rights and civil liberties, and with value for the lives and well-being of all citizens, all residents, and all visitors to the state." So when I speak of security and strategic communication, I mean the orchestrated use of information and data to fulfill Imo State's mission of protecting lives and property, as well as the actualization of what the governor calls a state of shared prosperity in a secure homeland. So in pursuit of that mission and vision, the Ministry of Homeland Security operates with the following set of values. Excuse me. We operate with the following set of values. First, humanity. We recognize, acknowledge, and affirm the humanity of each citizen, resident, and visitor to the state. Excellence. We expect excellence always from ourselves and from others. Service. Our state and its citizens come first. We put service ahead of all else. Uprightness. Integrity is essential for us. We are committed to accountability and to the highest ethical and moral standards. And somebody once defined integrity as doing the right thing when nobody's watching. As doing the right thing when nobody's watching. Now, Chinua Achebe told us that one characteristic of integrity is the blunt refusal to be compromised. And I submit to you that at least in the area of security in the state, as we have faced challenges in the past few months, His Excellency Governor Hope have chosen not to be compromised over the issue of providing security and safety for the lives and property in Imo State. And teamwork. Homeland security and safety is a collective responsibility. We are committed to collaborations partnerships, and interoperability at all levels with folks like you. And finally, diversity. We are building a workforce that is as diverse as Imo State's residents in the state. So, what does partnership with people like you look like? First of all, I'll address the issue of accuracy and timeliness of information. If it concerns security incidents in the state, we will tell you what we know, when we know it, and what the government is doing or going to do about it. If we don't quite have all the information, we will tell you that we'll get back to you. It is better to tell you that we don't have all the information about a particular incident than to give you inaccurate or false information. On your part, as broadcasters and as journalists in general, you also have a responsibility to present only verified information. The presentation of rumors and unverified propaganda regarding security incidents to your audience can work against the state's mission and vision to protect lives and property. We need to avoid panic. Even when you present verified information, the presenter can choose not to create panic among his or her listeners. A state of panic surrounding any security incident does nobody any good. As partners in the state's mission to protect lives and property, we expect you to present verified information with care and with caution. Sometimes it will even be helpful for a presenter to withhold information that he or she judges may cause panic, even when the presenter's primary inclination is to inform the public and be the first among his colleagues to provide that information. And finally, the issue of mutual support and collaboration. The business of broadcasting is not cheap. I also know that organizing an event such as this one is not cheap either. In furtherance of this strategic partnership, it is important for government to support broadcasters and the organizations such as yours. We bring that support by sponsorships when the budget allows for it, by bringing PR to the degree that we can, by showing up on air with you and your programs, and by reuniting with you at events such as this one. So finally, I want to say to you, Martin Luther King, the celebrated civil rights icon of the United States, once told us that the test of a man's character is not where he or she stands in times of comfort and convenience and peace. The test of a man's character, or a woman's character, is where he or she stands in times of conflict, in times of confusion. I will submit to you, as I alluded to earlier, that our state has gone through trauma to some degree based on security incidents. And I want to say to you that His Excellency Governor Hope Uzodimma, in the middle of some of those crises, have chosen to stand with the people of Imo State and not to cede control of the state to criminal elements, to political gladiators, some of whom are sponsoring some of these activities. And so it is a demonstration of his character that he has had to spend a lot of money and resources to make sure that Imo State is returned to its original place as the most peaceful state in the country. So I want to end by saying this. Lagos and Abuja tell us that they are gateways to Nigeria, because that's where most people who come into the country come to get into Nigeria. Those of us from Imo State, we do not begrudge them that claim. All we say is that if Lagos and Abuja are the gateways to Nigeria, then the ultimate destination within Nigeria remains Imo State. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
very much for the intelligent, articulate delivery, Dr. Ugorji. Now we only have time for 5 questions. Only 5 questions. We will start from here. Yes, I have a question.
Yes, I do. Thank you very much, Honorable Commissioner, for your time. My name still is Lydia Andrew Valentine. Now, towards a partnership, you talked about accuracy and timeliness of information, and also dwelt on how important it is for broadcasters on their part not to give out information unless verified from your end. Now, while we work towards that partnership, of course, it goes without saying that we owe the people, the listeners, a duty. So we have situations where something happens with respect to security, and sometimes we're not hearing anything from the government or security agencies, and this lingers for hours. And then suddenly on social media, we're getting visual and audio images. We're seeing people going, live witnesses. We're having people granting interviews. So it's not they say, them say. People are actually coming out and speaking. And then sometimes when the government on its end gives out information, there seem to be lots of contradictions between what the government is saying or the security agencies are saying and what the people, live witnesses, are saying. How, that places the broadcasters in a dilemma. How do you propose we deal with such situation? And making sure that we're playing our part, keeping to our partnership, and also fulfilling our duty to the people. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the question. It's a very good one. Well, when you have videos that everybody can see, to some degree it is verified. What exactly is happening in the video and the cause of what happened or what led to the incident that is being videotaped may not be known, but at least if somebody is shot, for instance, if somebody is killed and there's a video to that effect, then it's verified, right? So it is fine for presenters to present that as verified. Where I ask that the commentary be limited is wait to understand exactly what led to the visuals that you're seeing. And one of the ways you can get accuracy is you call the responsible officers in government to come to your shows or to come to your programs and answer questions. I encountered some of the presenters here by listening on radio and hearing things being said about security, and I will call in, and then subsequently they invite me to come to the studio and speak. And of course, sometimes, if something is so fresh in terms of an incident that just happened, let's say within the past 24 hours, if you call me and I'm not quite comfortable yet with my facts and data to speak about it, I may ask you to wait and give me a few more days and I'll come on your show. But those who have invited me by and large, unless there's a conflict in my schedule, know that I will come to your show and discuss issues and incidents that concern security. What I was speaking to about accuracy and verification is that quite often rumors are presented as facts, as without verification. And by the time the audience gets to find out that the rumors are not really real, some damage may already have been done in terms of people panicking, people staying away from schools and staying away from the workplace and things like that. That's what I was talking about. But if you have verified information, by all means, I know your duty is to inform, educate, and entertain sometimes.
Thank you very much, Doctor. The next question is coming from Ugorji Anthony. He's the president of Mass Communication Students at the Federal Polytechnic in Lekki. Ugorji, would you please come forward with your question?
Good morning, sir. Good morning. Please, my question is this. You said a journalist would have to give a verified information carefully and cautiously. I want to ask, are there limits to the consciousness of the person giving out this information, knowing fully well that this information is highly verified? Thank you.
Now, if your information and you're confident that your information is verified, and then you make a judgment in yourself as a presenter that presenting that information or discussing that information will not cause more damage to society at large, then by all means go ahead and discuss it. There should not be any limit, except when you go to ascribing or blames in certain quarters that you may not know are liable for the blame. But yeah, there should be no limits. Once you have verified information, there should be no limits to how you discuss it and present it.
The next question is coming from Chidiebere Chimara of Ojimba FM Olo.
You can stay there.
Good morning, once more, Honorable Commissioner, and thank you for the judicious 15 minutes of your time. My question still goes on our profession and security. And like you pointed out, we ought to present verifiable information as regards security, for instance. I'm coming from an area that is devastated by security and insecurity. And we have the issue of when we present a verifiable security information, we either get a threat call or get arrested to the extent that once it borders on security, we hardly present. At this junction, where does your profession present the journalist, the presenter, for instance? Thank you.
Yeah, so this is one of those areas where there's a conflict between my position as a commissioner and my commitment to the sharing of information as a writer, as an artist myself. Well, this much I'll tell you. You won't get a threat from the Ministry of Homeland Security and Vigilante Affairs. I can only speak about the entity that I control. So you won't get a threat from us about the discussion of verified information. Now, there are some agencies who might be a little jittery about the sharing of certain information. By and large, those agencies are not state agencies, if you know what I mean. This is what I'll tell you. If you ever feel threatened as a broadcaster in Imo State in reporting verified information about security incidents in the state, let us know, let my ministry know. If you ever run into a problem, as it were, with any security agents about the work you're doing, and you can get to me, because I'll share my phone number with your leaders, and you get to me, and we'll see what we can do to intervene, to make sure that journalists are respected when they're doing the right thing vis-a-vis their profession. Thank you.
We have another question. It's coming from Alozie, the Alozie Treasure, Eziako, a student of Mass Communications Department, Federal Polytechnic. Would you please come forward?
Good morning, sir. Good morning, everyone. My question is this: are there some information regarding security that the journalist is not meant to disclose to her audience? Thank you.
Yeah. If a security agency or security agencies, for instance, are planning an operation that is supposed to be a surprise operation against criminal elements or against elements that don't mean the state any good, a journalist may get a hint of it because journalists have links, they have networks of people, they have informants. I will tell you, it is wrong to reveal the movement of security agents towards an operation. because it compromises not only the mission, but it also compromises the officers involved in the mission. So when you get such an information, I will ask you to be cautious about sharing security formation movements, especially if you know that they are in an operation for a particular mission. That's a judgment call on your part, of course, but I ask you to exercise that caution because, as I said, if you review information that is not in the public domain, information about movement of security agencies towards a particular operation, you jeopardize the mission and you jeopardize the lives of those officers involved. Thank you.
More questions?
Any more questions?
I thought President
Okay, Mr. President has a question, a presidential question.
Good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and thank you, very respected resource person. I think the two lectures we've had so far are intertwined in the sense that the first resource person has said you present in a manner as to not scatter the society. You do your presentation in a manner as to ensure there is also relative peace in where we stay. So it's something that the presenter has to really do carefully. And then in terms of security issues, you don't put out things that will also set the state on fire. So you're able to do it in a manner that it will be good for all. And let me rather say at this point, sir, that we are more concerned that as presenters, we leave the house earlier before any other person. And even while our wives and children, for instance, are asleep, we are blaring the horn, maybe 1 a.m. to come back home. So while we are always out there quite early as 4 sometimes, coming back at 1 a.m., we have always encountered the security personnel. And even while we talked about the NSAS, the lockdown, the curfew, the unknown government, but thank God it's all over now. You see that the presenter must always be seen and hacked. They must be on set to do their job. So what advice do you proffer as to how best? I remember a couple of months ago, during the unknown whatever, around the Ugorji there, I ran into the fierce-looking military officers who cocked their guns and said, "I must stop and come out." I had to raise my, the tap was still on, the door was open, the light was still on, around 4:30 in the morning. And what really transpired is something for another day. But thank God, I was able to still be alive. So how does the presenter handle these issues in relation to meeting these people, some of who do not even understand the language you present? Some can't even read their ID card. What do we do?
Yeah, I was going to proffer a solution, but you just neutralized it by saying some of them can't even read your ID card. I was going to say that I've encountered that issue before in terms of your members bringing that to my attention. And one of the things I thought in terms of solution is perhaps to work with your group to give you some kind of pass, some kind of ID, separate apart from whatever you already have, the security ID of sorts that you can present to security agents if you run into them. So that's one, but the one advice I will give you though, whether you're running to get to the studio or just going on personal errands for your wife, that if you run into security officers, please cooperate with them. They are human beings like the rest of us. A lot of them are on the streets night and day, doing the needful, so to speak, to protect us. There is a presumption that they are doing right by us. And so you give them the benefit of doubt in terms of their responsibilities. If they ask you a question, you answer. If they ask you to get out of your car, you gently do that. I come from, or rather, I've lived in a society in the US where I, as a black man, has to be conscious on the road all the time with respect to security agents. Because, some people ask me why I left the US to come here and do this. Leave the comfort of the US to come here. And I said to them, at certain stages in one's life, some things mean more to you than others. And I said, this is the only place, this is the only space on Mother Earth that I, as an African and as a black man, can work with the full complement of my dignity as a man than any other place in the world. The opportunities here may not be as great, the pay may not be as great, but I walk out feeling the full complement of my being as a human being and as a black person. I don't get that in the US, no matter how many degrees you have, no matter how wealthy you are as a black man in the US. So I take seriously the notion that going to your work, you get accosted, as it were. And some of our security, not all, most of them are disciplined in what they do. Every now and then you run into somebody who's having a bad day. My suggestion is to be as polite as you can with them. Don't pull ranks because it rankles them. And then if you run into any issues within the state, anywhere in the state with our security agents, all of them liaise with me. I'm on direct line with all the commanders, the Commissioner of Police, the Commissioner of the 34th Brigade Command, the DSS, the Director of DSS. I am on direct call to all of them. So if you have any difficulty in doing your job, contact me. I will do what I can to make sure we extricate you from that situation.
Thank you very much, Doctor. At this juncture, I would like to call on our Vice President, Lillian Duru Valentine, to come